All right, everybody, welcome to Hello. Whoa.
I love how the time automatically shows how late we are in the background. Whatever.
Welcome to another episode of Lake to Lake Girls. We're your hosts, Tiff and Amanda.
Hey guys.
Cassie's not in today. She finished her marathon, and she's feeling the effects of that. She had a little bit of time off from work, so now she's trying to play catch up. We all know how that is, so she is currently doing that.
I like to call it the post-vacation syndrome.
Post-vacation syndrome?
It's a real thing. I think you actually get depressed.
It's not, like, I feel more tired coming back from, like, when I've gone on vacation, I feel more tired coming back knowing the workload that I am coming back to.
You need a vacation from your vacation.
You really do. You have to come back 2-3 days before you have to go back to work, or else you're SOL.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So she's not here with us tonight.
Nope. She is working on some work. So she's not here, but she's still working. But we do have a third with us tonight.
We have a guest with us tonight.
Hi. He is not a Lake to Lake girl, but he's certainly a welcome guest.
Yeah. We have James Quattro of Rochester, New York with us.
Yeah.
AKA my boyfriend.
What's up, everybody?
We want to see the inner workings of what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, see how we roll and our fanciness, how it works in here.
It's so fancy.
It's so fancy.
Oh, you fancy, huh? Sorry.
What?
Drake? Oh, you fancy, huh?
Oh. Yeah, you
Sorry.
got me. I work on a country station. I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do.
Oh, man. So we have a good because we haven't been on in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Catch up.
What did we have yet last week? I can't remember.
We talked about many.
No, we didn't have a show. Did we have a show last week?
No, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Because Cassie was in Florida last
she
week.
was in Florida.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
And I had my last basketball game last Monday. Okay.
And it was my week off, so. So, yeah.
So we were here. But now we're back, and we have a pretty good topic.
Yeah.
I think we have a pretty good topic. Well, being that ages that we are,
mid to late 20s.
Mid to late 20s. I wish, actually, for the younger viewers, I thought about this before and started preparing for this in advance. But now, my boyfriend and I are in the state, like in that area in our life where we want to buy a house because we're really tired of paying rent and paying for something that we're never going to own. You know, we can't call this our own and be like, proud or pride of ownership thing. And I really have a conviction for that.
Especially since you guys know you want to stay in the area. You're invested in staying in the Finger Lakes region. I could see where that would be frustrating, where you kind of feel like you're throwing your money away.
It really does, because like, where's it going to? Not to anything that we're making. Yeah. Not to anything that we're like. We can't change up the house. We can't make improvements. We can't.
Right. That's the big thing.
Plan to
kind
build
of make it
more.
your own.
Yeah. And make it like a life that, like, you're literally with a home. You're making your life, whether it be your starter home or your final home.
Right. You have to start somewhere.
Exactly. And
I wish when I was 18, 19, I had
put stuff
more
away.
of a plan. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most 18, 19-year-olds are
out partying.
Yeah, partying in college.
Not thinking about it.
You have freedom. You're not in your parents' house anymore, and that's really all that matters at that point.
See, I didn't plan it through. I'm such a baby to this, and I'm so naive to like what you need to have planned out. Now, see me, I'm thinking
I think you're hardly the only one, though.
I know, and that's why I thought it was such, like, we thought, in consensus, thought it was such a great topic to bring up, because I'm thinking I have a great job, I have an income, I have my boyfriend's income coming in, we're steady in our jobs, we've been at them for a long time, and our credit is amazing.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That is a huge plus.
When I went and talked to my the people I have my student loans through, I was asking her a little bit of advice. I'm trying to get as much information on what I need to do to have ready for a home. And she said the rule of thumb is you put 5% down on your home, but a lot of people you're seeing do 20%, just because it's a lot better. You can get your interest a lot lower, and you don't have to get like a certain kind of insurance to help pay for that. And also, you don't just count the 5% you put down. You also have to count in closing costs and all that stuff. It's racking up to be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 that you need to have saved. And who in this day and age has that kind of money?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this is something you really have to plan for, because we're just like, she told me I'm in the top tier for a mortgage. With my boyfriend and I's our
credit history.
Credit history.
Yeah.
We're above 720, both of us.
I am like, holy shit.
So,
that is amazing. I'm a little jealous, not gonna lie.
So, like we thought we were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Except for putting the money aside part.
Right.
And you were talking about like this grant program that you can do for, first time home buyers.
Yeah, so there's a couple options. You can and I'm not an expert by any means.
Yeah, but any information is good in like anything.
I've gone to a few classes. Yeah, there's a grant, and I'm not sure the official title of it, but there's the Rochester Consumer Credit Council, and I'm sure there's one out this way too, where they provide a class which is required to take in order to qualify for the grant. But for every dollar you save, this grant adds $3 to it, up to I think $7,500. So you save roughly $1,800 over maybe a year and a half period. $100 a month, and that turns into $7,500, which is a good chunk towards at least cover closing costs.
It'll at least cover closing costs, exactly.
And for a first-time home buyer, you can get like an FHA loan, and there's other options out there which are 100% finance, which means no money down.
Those you really have to qualify for those,
right? But then you sacrifice. Some of them require you to stay in the house for
5 years, 10
years.
Yeah.
So you guys have it pretty good with your credit and everything. It's just gotta make a decision. Do I want to wait a couple years and save, or qualify for one of these other options and pull the trigger sooner?
And something you also have to think about is because some of these programs, I'm told, also you have to look into the fine print, because some of them have a fixed rate and some of them have
the
variable rate, where right now your fixed rate is great, so it seems like you're getting such a low interest, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're hit with like this huge charge, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? It's not a fixed rate. And then you have to decide what kind of mortgage you want, 10, 20, 30. Some places will even let you do 50, but most people do like a 30-year mortgage.
30 or sometimes 15.
Yeah.
I wonder, I'm going to look up on my phone and see. There's got to be classes out there for first-time home buyers.
Well, there is. My sister, like when you said that, it lit something in my head with my sister, when her and her husband just bought their house last year, and they took a course, but it was like 3 or 4 days of 2-hour classes. They taught you about mortgages and how to make sure you pay your bills, how the mortgage works, make sure you, like, it talks about a whole lot of financing and teaching you how to handle money.
Mortgages are different than like an outright loan, say for your car or something. It's a totally different animal.
Yep.
Yeah, and you have great credit, and there's a lot of people out there that don't have the best credit. And this class that I took, it doesn't have to be a deterrent. For most people, to get a mortgage, if they see at least a year of positive, so on-time payments, some sort of activity like credit card use, that's usually enough with maybe a little bit below average credit score to get you a mortgage. You don't have to have perfect credit. You could have had collections in the past. You might have had judgments. I mean, even if you've had a bankruptcy, their biggest thing is not so much what's in the past, it's what you've done since then
to make up for
it. If it's been a repetitive, where it's a second bankruptcy or something, then obviously that's going to hurt you. But you don't have to have perfect credit to buy a house. It's all hope is not lost, which I was happy to hear, because mine's not where it should be. So
no, definitely. Neither is my sister's, and this class actually helped her because she took the class with her husband. He had to be there, and they did the thing where you save over certain amount of time. They give you a certain amount of time to put this money away, and they give you $10,000.
Wow.
Towards you know,
and it's
closing costs and like an inspection and all that stuff.
The money's out there.
It is.
Why not? You know, it's good to save anyway.
To utilize that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's also advantageous to look at what your employer may like talk with people in HR, because I know through my workplace you can sign up, you can contribute like a certain amount every paycheck to like lawyer's fees. I forget the name of it, but like, so if you're planning on buying a house in the next year or two, you know, if you sign up for that, you have that free service. You wouldn't pay as much as you might outright if you just got a lawyer. But but if you know, you should look into what like your HR department might be able to provide for you through benefits too.
I was also told to find a mortgage broker that I trust.
Yes.
Easier said than done.
I was just going to say, how do you know you trust them or not?
I think it's like word of mouth, friend of a friend, or, you know, I've really worked with this person. You should really try this person out. You should utilize more than one person and see what kind of different responses you get. Because, you know, if you're getting this thing from over here and they're really building you up over here, and then you have someone else saying the reverse over here, you're like, oh, why is there such a difference? But if they're telling you kind of the same thing, you can kind of bank on that being the case for what you can afford.
When you say mortgage broker, are you
like someone to tell me how much I need down, like basically to tell me what I can afford.
Okay.
Not a broker.
Like a real estate
agent.
Oh,
basically.
okay.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry I said mortgage broker. I don't
well,
know
no, it brings up another point, because I worked for a brief stint for a mortgage company, and basically I sold refinances. And mortgage brokers you're better off going directly to a bank. A mortgage broker is going to kind of be a representative and look at multiple options, which sounds like a good thing up front, but they're it's not necessarily in their best interest to get you the lowest rate or the best deal.
Oh, okay, got you.
It's usually easier to deal directly with the bank itself, but I would start by finding a good real estate agent, because most of these real estate agents have connections at the banks and can point you to somebody that they trust. So, yeah, that'd be a good place to start.
Start with the different banks and see what I can get where they are. Because I went, when I was talking to my loan finance, the person I was talking about my loan, she's like, well, we have this program here at this bank, and you know, it's really great. We have someone, like, we, you know, forgive a lot of different kind of small fees. Like, you have to have an inspection. You have to have certain things that happen during the process. They'll pay, like, lawyer fees and everything like that. But they might not necessarily, and she said this, she's like, we might not necessarily have the best application for you. She's like, we might have the best one if you have already owned a home and are purchasing another home and looking to sell your home. But for a first-time buyer, you might be able to find a better program out there that you can utilize more than our own bank. So people, you know, I trust what she says.
Honest
She's
with
being
you.
very honest with me, very helpful. It's just, I feel there should be a class.
I was just say, this sounds
like
kind of overwhelming.
It's so overwhelming.
Right?
They teach you how to write checks in school still.
They do. Economics and everything.
Anymore.
Yeah.
But
speaking of, this is we do this a lot. We rant.
Tangent time.
Right.
Tangent. They don't teach cursive in high school anymore.
Really?
No.
In elementary, none of it. But they teach hieroglyphics.
Are you serious?
Do you remember in 6th grade when we made our mummies?
Yeah.
They still do
They
that.
still do that project?
They still do that project, and they still do, like, they learn, like, the different characters. You teach hieroglyphics from ancient Egypt.
Right.
Because,
And
you know,
you
that'll
don't
be useful.
But nobody uses cursive
anymore at all.
That's crazy.
No, schools don't.
Interesting.
It's not like,
Can we just say how we're, like, approaching our 10-year high school
oh, good Lord.
Oh, I
reunion?
just got in the mail over the weekend a letter from my undergrad at Elmira for my 5-year college reunion. I was like, what, for the summer?
Wait, do we have 5-year reunions? Is that a thing?
My Elmira does it.
Apparently.
I know. I'm like, what? This isn't
little
time.
Excessive.
It's a little quick.
This isn't time yet. Which, no.
It's a little quick. I know that
I probably won't go.
my school, I know that they do, for the sake of, I guess, saving money and time, they'll pick years. So they'll do, like, you graduated in 70, 80, 90, and
yeah,
then
that's
2000.
what Elmira does,
Is
too.
it that what
yeah.
they're doing? And it just happens to be
It's
your
every 5
classes
years.
included?
Oh,
yeah.
this is 2010.
So,
yeah.
you fall right on a...
Yeah.
So
right
every
on
5
that.
years you're
Okay.
gonna
So it'll be like, so the reunion classes for this coming summer will be like 2005, and then,
Oh, okay.
and then 2000, yeah.
That that makes
I mean,
sense,
anyone-
more sense, but
I
still.
mean, yeah, anyone who's graduated obviously can go if you want, but it's really focused on
those years.
So, like, last year it would have been the class of 2009, and then, down from there, 2004. So, I don't know. It felt weird.
You feel
It's
old?
like, I'm not
I feel old.
like, I'm not old enough for this.
I feel old.
Right?
I don't like
Yeah,
it.
well, I have nieces graduating from high school this year, so...
Yeah.
But you know what the funny thing is? They're not the first ones. They're like...
Don't you have nieces
I've
that
had-
are about your age?
Yeah, my oldest niece is 2 years younger than me.
Yeah,
So
she's
I've
just
had a
about
niece
your
graduate from college, so...
These ones you see more often, maybe. That's
Well,
why.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
little
they're
bit closer.
local. That's
Yeah.
a good point.
Fair enough.
So it feels a little closer to home, quite literally. I know.
Well, Brittany's going to be 22.
I
How
know.
old does that
Oh
make
my
you feel?
gosh.
You haven't met my sister yet.
Oh,
But,
yeah, her little
I'm not.
sister.
she is a character and a half.
Oh, yeah.
And I have another thing that makes me feel old is you're saying that, they're graduating, but now I have my sister-in-law who's going to give birth to her second baby at the end of this month.
Oh, my gosh.
My other brother has 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Just gave birth to their second son last March.
Kyle?
No, that Kyle Jr.'s have his second one at the end of this month. My
How
sister-in-law.
many pregnant people are there in your family?
They're all freaking
I
pregnant.
was about to say, Tiffany, you
contagious.
about to say, watch your back. Watch yourself.
I am taking all precautions.
Good.
Because
You're not
it is
ready
not
for it.
happening to me. I am not catching that bug. Nope. Not right now. We have so much on our plate, especially with this whole house thing. I would rather be settled in a house.
Yeah.
So many couples. Have you noticed that? So many couples are doing that. They're buying a house before they get married. They're not making getting married a priority as much anymore.
My coworker did that. Yeah, actually, someone I work with in my office, he and his girlfriend bought their first house together back in the summer, like 6 months ago. They're not engaged.
Yeah.
I don't personally. I don't know how I feel about that.
Get that, James? Got it?
I'm listening.
Take note.
Personally, I don't know if I would put my name on a mortgage with someone I'm not engaged to.
Well, see, a mutual friend of ours, she
know.
kind of got screwed on something like what you're talking
Yeah.
about. She thought she was with, it was going to be forever with this person.
Well, you would assume in your
And-
mind because you're making such a big legal and financial commitment with
Exactly.
someone.
You're like, this is serious. This
Yeah.
is what I'm going to do. And they just grew apart. And, she ended up putting her name alone on a mortgage.
Yeah.
Because, his credit wasn't so great and his job wasn't as steady at the time. So,
How old were they
Uh,
when that happened?
She's had the house about 6 years.
Okay, she's our age? Or...
A little older.
Okay.
Just had a birthday recently. You know who I'm talking about.
I'm trying to blank. I'm sorry.
The other thing, too,
Text it
is
to me.
if you do that, right, so you buy a house, both of you put your name on it, and you're not married, and something were to happen, or even if you are married and something were to happen, you guys were to split, and if you had one of these FHA loans or one of these deals you got where there's no money down, it was a good deal, some of those, you can't get off the mortgage. You have to write a letter, and they have to make a special exception. If they make you stay in the house for 10 years
That's
or
good to
whatever
know.
it is, it's not easy. I have a friend that's going through that right now.
Yeah.
And
That it just didn't work out.
right, well, she was married.
Oh, okay.
And they split, but I've heard several situations where it's not the easiest thing in the world to get off of the mortgage.
Those special mortgages for first-time buyers.
It would be easier to have one person on it, and then maybe a few years down the road when you do get married, refinance and put both of you,
on the mortgage. See, now that would make more sense.
Yeah.
But when what happened to our friend,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
she's very, very good with her ABCs.
I'm so drawing a blank right now. You're going to, tell me.
She
and I'm
just had a birthday on Friday.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's
Bingo.
yes.
I got her.
Okay.
I got her.
Okay.
Okay. She went on the mortgage herself because she made enough money where she was working to support it. Okay, and then she was going to school as well. Breaks up. He says, I'm wiping clean. I'm not on any of the documents here.
So it backfired.
And then she's stuck with it.
And then she's stuck with it.
See, I never realized she actually owned that house. I thought,
oh, yeah, that's hers. She still owns it.
I did not know that.
Renting it out now. Luckily, someone is renting her out. She'd be real SOL.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's just, she couldn't, that's another thing you have to think about. And this is actually something that Marty brought up to me. He goes, I don't want to think like this, and we shouldn't think like this, but whatever we do, wherever we go, if we decide to buy, we have to know that we could support ourselves in this house by ourselves.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Very thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Like, you have got to be able to afford the mortgage and all
your
the
own.
bills and everything on your own, because God forbid you break up. I mean, that's worst case scenario, or something should happen to
to the other person.
In more of a life-threatening way.
But on the plus side to that is, if you do that and put yourself in that situation and you guys are together, now you're so much better off financially.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because now you can each afford it on your own, but now you're splitting the cost. You have all that extra money freed up to put into the house.
Exactly.
Instead of like figuring out what your limit is together and then overextending yourselves.
Exactly.
And getting something a little too...
And that's another point that was brought up to me.
I'm going to tell you right now, the banks will give you more money
than you
can afford.
Yeah.
They just look at your credit and your history, and income's taken into place, but they might give you
here you go
more money than you can
actually afford.
In reality, afford. Because the numbers might look like you can afford it on paper, but you only know what you...
Exactly. And you don't want to overextend yourself, like you said, because my mom said that they were willing to give her such and such amount of dollars, like this big 6-figure house, and she's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. That's not smart. I'm not going to overextend myself, because you can become what they call house poor, where
you buy a house but you can't afford like upkeep.
You can't
taxes.
afford anything else outside of the house, and then you're just house poor. You can't afford anything else aside from your house.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, I'm stuck with this big old block on the ground. What do I do with it now?
Yeah.
I mean, those are things that you have to think about, because I'm looking at the cost, and it's all like, I see dollar signs just constantly going in my brain. Like, we have to furnish, like, we have a furnished house right now, but the stove's not ours.
Right.
Washer dryer.
Yeah. The refrigerator's not ours. I know that most houses, if they don't catch it in the inspection, if there's something that's wrong, I mean, a couple of years down the road, you might have to put a new roof on the house. That's like $10 grand there to replace a roof.
New windows.
God forbid, what is that? The furnace shits the bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had that happen to a lot of people, and people are like, oh.
Yeah. Well, then there's like the cosmetic parts you're talking about, like furniture. If you want to paint, decorate,
make the house
yourself.
Your own.
My plan is to find out, how much I can afford. So for argument's sake, we'll say like $100,000, and what I qualify for, obviously, and then start looking at houses that are listed for maybe $80,000. So stay under what I can afford, and that may need like a little bit of work. But then go in there. You can go in there and get estimates from contractors, and they'll estimate what the house will be valued at after the work is done, and the bank can give you a little bit more on that original loan than what the sell price of the house is. So now you're up to what you can afford, but you've actually been able to make it your own. You could paint, maybe
change things
floors,
up.
correct.
Yep.
Instead of buying a $100,000 house that might need some work.
That you're already maxed out at.
Right, and now it's going to be several years before you have enough equity to like get a home equity loan or something like that. Because everybody wants to go in and paint. Everybody wants to do the carpets.
It's a good thing to think about.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Because
everybody wants to make the house their own, no matter how nice it is.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
add their own little personal touch.
Yeah.
So my plan is to maybe back off $10,000 or $15,000 from what. Find something that I can still work with that's in good shape. Maybe shop around and get a deal, and then take that extra money.
You really have to look at different houses in that market too, because a friend of mine got a house that was originally priced at, I think he said it was around 130-40 grand. He ended up buying it for 90 something.
Right.
Because the house had been on the market for so long that, and it was like you have to do a little bit of work to it, but he got the work done because he got it for so cheap.
If you're not in a hurry, you can find the deals.
You can find it.
you want to start with a real estate agent so you can start looking at what might be in your price range. Start looking at houses to get an idea of what you want. But then you go to the bank, you get qualified, and they give you a qualification letter. So that if you walk into a house on an open house and say this is the one, your realtor already knows. All right, you are already qualified.
Yeah, because
for this
a
amount.
lot of times they won't even talk to you
until you have that
you're
letter
qualified.
And then you can just put that offer in right then and there and take it. But the whole process takes time. Even if you were qualified today, the closing, I mean,
3-4 months.
Right, you can't be in a rush.
That's why it's so important now to be like, do I want to be able to be in the position where I can own my own house in 5 years? Bring it back to.
Yeah, I think it's good to set goals.
I think there's so
my
much.
Goal's set, so.
You're already planning?
He's a smart cookie. I think I'm going to keep him.
I'm thinking, what are we in? This is 2015.
Yep.
Like summer of 2017 is when I want to put an offer in on a place.
See, now that's really smart. You're planning out see me. I'm like,
I mean, I wish it could be sooner, but I want to, I want to be in an ideal position. I don't want to, overextend myself. It gives me time to make the changes that I need to with my current credit situation.
where they can see the improvements that they
want. I think that's something we should talk about too, is how to actually improve your credit.
Getting a credit card.
Yeah,
actually,
yes.
That is a good. But actually,
it sucks. It's a sucky reality.
It's the fastest way to build your credit, but you have to be smart about it.
Yep.
I've read many articles about this because I'm trying to do this myself.
A lot of people do the whole gas thing, the whole gas idea.
What's
buy
that?
Gas with
just
your
use
credit card.
to just buy gas,
yeah.
And then pay it right off.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Literally, don't get down that hole.
Yeah. Because what you want to do is actually one of the most influential factors of your credit score with credit cards is your utilization rate. You want that to be under 30%. If you are utilizing more than 30% of your credit card every month, it's a negative. Like that hurts your credit score. So there's different factors. There's like formulas online that, and actually if you go to creditkarma.com, I check my credit score all the time. It's kind of fun because you're like, yeah, I went up 2 points.
Isn't that hurtful?
No, it's free. It's not hurtful.
It's
not a credit report.
This might be a common misconception. We should go over this because
services like Credit Karma, which you can get the app right on your phone, it's free, doesn't charge you. You can check it at any time. I can log on right now.
And you get all 4 different
those inquiries,
numbers,
and they say right on the fine print, those inquiries that they make do not
affect your credit.
It's what they call like a soft inquiry. It's not a hard inquiry.
It's not
it's like where you're ranging.
Correct.
Yeah, and you can see over time if you've gone up or down, and it keeps track of all your debts, your credit, And
then it gives you a score.
Yeah.
So it gives you an overall score of what your credit is, and then it tells you why. You got an A in length of time that you've had accounts open. You got a B in your payment history. You got it, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it gives you scores for different types of purchases or insurances you might want to make, like if you're looking for a home, home mortgage or car insurance or what have you. But you want to keep it under 30% of your utilization, and they will tell you on Credit Karma too. This just became a plug for Credit Karma.
I was going to say, you heard it here, folks.
I know, right? They're not sponsoring
Where's our payout?
us, right? I wish. I just think it's a really awesome website.
But they give you recommendations on what you can do based on your credit. Here's how you improve it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth looking into.
And it tells you what other options did they say aside from the credit card thing? Did they give you any other ways to build your credit? Because misconception is getting your own cell phone bill. Nope, doesn't do it.
Nope.
None of those things really build your credit. It's something where you can go into debt and make sure you're paying it off.
Exactly, and being consistent.
Yes.
Also, another
Loans
thing
help.
is, yep,
a loan helps.
Yep.
Like a car loan or
I actually got
student loan.
Yeah, I got a car loan before I ever had my first credit card. And I kind of wish I knew what my credit score was then, but this was like 4 or 5 years ago now. Mm-hmm. But being consistent with payments,
that does
paying a little bit more than the
paying off
minimum
something early too.
Yeah,
paying it off early. Woo,
and
I
also,
love that.
right. And another thing is too, you do not want to close. Say you've had say you got like a student credit card freshman year of college, and it's the longest line of credit you've ever had. You do not want to close that. You do like your Netflix subscription on it or something. Pay it off once a month, because you're only as good as your longest line of credit.
Right.
And it will hurt you to close that.
Okay.
More than it would.
You don't even have to really have a balance on it. You can cut the card up if you want.
just have it
Just
open.
leave
Just
the account
don't
open.
See what
close
concerns
it.
about me. I had a credit card, my longest standing. My first credit card wasn't really even a credit card. It was financing for my household. Like I got my couch, my table, and my coffee table.
But you paid it on credit.
I paid it, like they sent me a little credit card that
Right.
said,
Yeah.
you know, you still have this much available balance. I'm like, no. I'll pay off what I had, but like a certain amount of time is no interest. Paid that off real quick. I took that and I paid it off in like 8 months. And when it was supposed to be like 2 years, I was supposed to pay it off. I was super proud of myself.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. That was hard. Like I literally could do nothing. I left. I knew I had a goal. I didn't want to have the debt. I paid it off really quick, but I didn't use it since then because I didn't need to buy furniture anymore. So why use the credit card? You know, I was done buying furniture, and I get a letter saying, due to inactivity, your card has been
shut it off. Correct.
shut off.
Yeah.
So they'll shut it off for you.
But I
So
think
sometimes you have to keep it open. Like you have to keep using it.
Yeah.
Depending, I guess you have to look at fine print.
Yeah. And I think like for like a furniture store, or like wherever you bought it from,
It's not utilized
I don't
as
think
much.
I don't think that's as dramatic as say like you had a Visa or a MasterCard or something and then you closed it.
See, when you get a credit card, don't get into that credit card frenzy where you're like,
It is
it's so easy.
it's so
If
easy.
you're like a first time, like you have no credit,
Give yourself like a $400 balance.
or if
I say.
you have like bad credit and you're trying to improve, you can get a secured credit card.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you go to like the Capital One has the biggest selection, and like a $200 secured credit card means you actually pay them $200. It's like a deposit, and they give you a card with a $200 balance. So they have your money already.
It's kind of like
So you're not really overextending yourself.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
at a certain point, depends on the card, you get that money back, or if you close the card out. But you only have a $200 limit. They're going to give it to you because they know that if you default on it, they already have your $200 sitting there, to cover it, and you're not going to overextend yourself with $200. But you can use that, like you said, to put gas in the car once or twice a
Exactly.
month and pay it off every
Yeah.
month. And now you're building credit, even though you may have had crappy credit or no credit to begin with.
Exactly.
That's a good place to start for anybody, is a secured credit card. They have one specifically for students maybe that are just starting out. They have ones
Yep.
for people that have destroyed their credit.
They don't understand how easily it is you can destroy your credit. 1 or 2, how difficult it is to do anything without credit.
yeah.
There's so many
It's a
kids that don't have
double-edged
credit.
sword.
I was 19 years old. I had a friend co-sign on a credit card because I bought a truck with it. Like just, I think I paid $1,000 for it or whatever it was. But that built my credit enough. I was 19 years old. I went into my bank and got a card. They gave me a $6,000 credit limit at 19 years old,
Really?
which was a big mistake.
I'm about to say that is like
That is part of the reason why
Wow.
I am where I am today. And I haven't had a credit card in years, but this is all eye-opening. Like the classes I've taken in the last few months and the people I've talked to, it's actually hurting me to not have a credit card. Like my score isn't going down anymore, but it's really not going up
But it's
either.
not
Yeah.
helping you out
Yeah.
at all either.
I'm not building any additional credit.
Yeah, and it's the fastest way to go about it.
Right. So if you-
Jeez, who gives a 19-year-old
$6,000.
$6,000 free,
It's crazy.
free
Because
money?
you're
but-
thinking, oh my God, it's free money. I
Right?
can spend this anytime I want. But then you're like,
Well, and it wasn't even, I mean, it was, repairs of the car, tires in the car, it just,
yeah, like life
little
happens.
chunks here and there. Next
It
thing you
adds
know,
up so
it's
fast.
maxed out, and
Yeah.
now $6,000 balance. That's
Yeah.
that happened to me
That's a chunk of change.
last year when, I do have a credit card that I keep for safekeeping just in case something happens. Like my dog got sick a couple
Yeah.
times last year where I had to, it was a huge amount of money.
Yeah, those vet bills are nasty.
Vet bills, they sneak up on you and they get real nasty real quick. And, I was very thankful to have my credit card, but
Right.
you also, it takes you down.
you gotta have
And
discipline with it. Yeah.
And you know what? It feels like it's a never ending, like you're in a suck hole. Like you
It
build
is, yeah.
yourself-
It's hard.
you can't dig yourself out fast enough.
Yeah.
That's I don't know how I feel like I'm in a sinkhole, with that kind of thing. Paid off now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's helpful too now. I think it's by law actually that on your credit card statement they have to put the time frame of how long it will take you to pay off that amount as it stands right that second. If you pay just a minimum, but if you pay extra, it'll tell you how much quicker.
It'll get paid
That can
off.
be eye opening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a little trick if you have a car payment or a mortgage.
Okay.
If you have a 30-year mortgage and you pay your mortgage bi-weekly instead of monthly. So if your mortgage payment's $1,000 a month, every 2 weeks pay $500. What that does is that gives you 2 extra 2 extra payments a year, right? Because normally you'd make if you paid it twice a month, that would be 24 payments in a year. But bi-weekly, there's 52 weeks. That's 26 payments in a year.
So it reduces.
So it knocks 8 years off a 30-year mortgage in the end.
Oh, wow.
Which
Well, it
saves
reduces
you-
the interest.
Because
doesn't
the
it?
interest
Yeah.
rate is cutting down
You're
because
reducing the amount of interest you're
That's
paying.
genius.
And you save a lot. With a car, I did this with a car one time. I had a 5-year loan, and I paid the same thing bi-weekly, and it cut, that was like 7 or 8 months off a 5-year. So cars, save you a little bit, but for a house, I mean...
Yeah,
I mean,
over
8
longer,
years
that's
is
significant.
substantial, though, if
Yeah.
you really think about it. Because it's the
most
interest
people,
is what gets you.
There's some, obviously like a month with 5 weeks in it, you're going to technically make potentially 3 payments, 3 half payments that month. But most people don't notice it, especially if you get paid bi-weekly. You just set up, you're taking that money out of your
Automatic.
account anyway and paying the bill once a month. Just have it come out and pay half the bill twice, every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Save some interest. Yeah.
You
I
could
like
set up
that.
like automatic bill pay.
Yeah, I like that a
Yeah.
lot.
You watch your principal drop a lot faster on your monthly mortgage bills.
That feels good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
that feels real good. Let me tell you what.
Right, because
I like
the months that you're making that extra payment, because there's 5 weeks in the month, that extra payment's going all towards principal because you've already paid your
Yeah.
Your
minimum.
mortgage payment for that month. Yeah.
That's an
That is a-
incredible idea.
Excellent little trick.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Not bad. I'm glad you came around. I'm glad you're here. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
It's so super fun, as you can tell. There's so many questions.
But it's such good info. Like, people need
It
to
is.
talk about it more.
I don't seriously, until we started talking about it ourselves, no one has ever brought it up.
Right.
To
Even
me.
friends you have that are going through it, it's just they go through it and that's it.
And they go through it alone.
It would have been nice to sit in this room like 7 years ago and have this conversation.
right?
Oh, don't
Right?
even get me started on student loans. They're
Oh,
evil.
they can kiss it. Let me tell
And
you
it is
what.
the
Student
next
loans.
housing bubble that's going to burst anyways.
There's a lot of
evil.
issues they're gonna have, like giving just, I don't want to say it like that, but I'm gonna say it like that. Like just anyone a loan that has no idea what they're really getting. Like when they have these kids signing for these student loans, they need to put them through a class so they understand.
I agree. Oh, I agree so
what
much.
they're really signing into, because when I signed my student loans, I was like, all right.
Oh, it's like, yeah, $10,000, whatever.
Pay
I'll
for
have a
my
great
school.
job in 4 years.
yeah, pay for my school because I will be able to pay for it as soon as I graduate.
Right.
Just a little bitter if you can't tell.
We'll have to,
Absolutely not.
future topic.
Yeah,
hard,
that's
yeah.
a good topic to
That is
get
a good
into as
topic.
well. But yeah, wow, guys, that went quick. I'm just saying,
It sure did.
Time flies when you're having fun.
it does when you're talking about houses and mortgages and all that jazz. But we will catch you guys later. We're gonna get out of here. Thanks, James, for coming in with us.
Yep.
What is that music?
That is old music.